Okay. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining our Zoom today. If you don't know me, my name is Frank, and I've been doing a knowledge sharing over Zoom for about a year and a half now. And I want to appreciate those of you who have taken the time to join us in the Zoom, especially Ron and Tihua. You guys have been a faithful companion. You have given me a lot of values with your participation, and it's always a pleasure to see your face. Okay, and we are on this journey together. Um, the journey that we're on is the journey to expand our inner awareness and create peace, health, and happiness for ourselves. Okay, so that is the purpose that we usually generate every time that we enter the Zoom and do this knowledge sharing. Okay, the goal is to create peace, create health, create happiness. And speaking of health and happiness, we have been spending many weeks and months in this house of holistic health, also known as a house of holistic wealth. We've been working on our inner being. Okay, we've been studying wisdom, attitude, and character. We even touched upon integrity in the last season. Last week, we worked a little bit on our understanding of humanity, of people, right? Understanding of people. And we worked on our character. And as we improve our character, as we improve our understanding of people, we are building this column or this wall of the house of holistic health and holistic wealth. And I want to appreciate Ron and Jihua for working with me on this column every morning that we exercise together. The internal body transformation exercise, work on our physical health. It also work on our social health. Okay, we interact with each other, and we are very thankful for a new friend who joined us this morning. I gave us some time to interact and just to chat. Right, that's one way that we can build our social relationship is to get to know each other. And so, as we begin to enrich our wisdom, attitude, character, integrity, we're working on enriching our physical vitality. And at some point, this house, as I have promised before, that if we are holistically rich in all the areas of our wisdom, attitude, character, integrity, physical vitality, and capability, then the material rich will come. And so our teacher and master, Master Tuan, has spent many years, I think at least 10 years, teaching and sharing knowledge, but primarily focus on the inner being stuff, right? We've been learning the wisdom, the attitude, and the character for a very long time. And collectively, as a community of learners, our master has felt that we have come to a point when we have enough of a richness of inner being. We have enough of a richness.
Good morning,
in our
Thai.
health. Good morning, TQ1. Thank you so much for joining us. Okay.
I like to learn. I like
Okay.
learning.
Love to see you again. Okay. So as a community, as a collective consciousness, we have come to a point where we can, many people who have already studied this material have enjoy what we would consider richness in inner being, richness in their health and their relationship. And it is an appropriate time to start talking about the finance aspect of our house of holistic wealth. Okay. And so today's topic that I want to share with you guys to expand, beyond the inner awareness. So today we're going to talk about the awareness about the financial aspect of our life. So the topic, let me write it down for you, and I invite you guys to write and draw along with me. Okay. So this is a journey that we're going on together. journey toward fullness of awareness. Finance, business, and investing. Okay. Okay. Journey toward fullness of awareness in finance, business, and investing. Whereas most of our sharing so far has been focusing on raising our inner awareness, today we're going to focus on raising our inner awareness about finance, business, and investing. Okay. So, so when it comes to awareness, okay, what we're doing is we're sharing knowledge, a type of knowledge that helps us come to an awareness about life. And most people, those of you who have been in Zoom with me, you already know, but just in case there are people who view this recording later, most human beings has a certain way of looking at the world, at life, at themselves, for example. Okay, their own way of explaining the meaning of life or how things work. There are people who has a sort of scientific mindset. Okay, so they have a scientific mindset. They think and rationalize scientifically, and science has a large impact in their life. Some other people, instead of science, they rely on religion or spirituality in order to explain life. Okay, in order to explain life. And then there are people who are not really scientific, nor they're very religious, but they just subscribe to moral principles. Okay, they allow moral principles of life to direct them. Now, if a person is only scientific or only religious or spiritual or only morally inclined, then they're kind of limited. With our philosophy, we try to take all three approaches. Okay, all three approaches to raising a person's awareness. So here we use three perspectives. Right? We use a scientific perspective, we use a religious and spiritual perspective, we use the moral principle perspective. Would you agree that having three perspectives is more comprehensive, more total than just one perspective? Right? Because we may encounter some situation in life where science may not explain everything, and so we have to rely on religion and spirituality. If religion and spirituality doesn't work, then we switch over to moral principle to have a better understanding of life. And by having all three perspectives, we come to a more complete and full awareness about life. Right? That is why it is a journey toward fullness of awareness. And in this case, fullness of awareness about finance, business, and investing. So we're going to use three perspectives. And each of these three perspectives have, we call them a system of references. Okay, when we base a perspective on a well-established way of thinking, then it becomes a system of reference whereby we can explain other things. So scientifically speaking, from a scientific perspective, we have already studied in the inner being course Okay, we study the formula for the root cause of life. So I'm just going to shorten it up by calling it the root cause formula. Okay, root cause formula. The formula for the root cause of life. Simply put, when scientists do any experiment, they begin with the outcome in mind, the final product, a hypothesis or whatever. It is the final outcome. And they start from the beginning, they conduct experiment, and they try to arrive at the conclusion that matches the hypothesis, which is the final outcome. Okay, so the root cause formula, or the formula for the root cause of life, is a system of reference that is based on the idea of science. Okay, the scientific method. Besides from the scientific method for the root cause of life, we in the inner being courses have studied what's called the human construct. Okay, human construct. The human construct is a religious and spiritual way of looking at human nature. Okay, our human nature. As human beings, we have something called human nature. We also have something called our true nature. Okay, the truth within us. Last week, in our sharing on fullness of awareness about people or humanity, we came to understand that human beings, beside from our human nature, we have something called the true nature. And by understanding that truth within us, we will be free. Okay, we can liberate ourselves from a lot of entanglement and suffering in life. So that is a human construct. Last night, I also shared part of the human construct with the invitation of Master Ann Tan. And in her Zoom, she calls a human construct the human energy structure. And that is also a very accurate description of that system of reference. Because in the human construct, we learn all about energy, positive and negative polarity of human nature. Okay. Okay. So beside from the religion and spirituality perspective of the human construct, we also have learned a system of reference based on moral principle called the reality triangle. Okay, reality triangle. This picture here is a reality triangle. Okay. And with the reality triangle, what we learn is that in reality, all things are made of material. All material things has an energy component that give rise to that material manifestation. And the energy component came from a set of information. Hello, Jihan. Thank you. Hello, Ji-Yung. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm grateful for your participation. Okay. With the reality triangle, when we explore the life using the reality triangle, we discover that the inner seed within us is made up of what we know or what we believe and what we understand. So for a person to come to a fullness of awareness something, they have to have a complete knowledge, understanding, and belief of it. And a person's knowledge, belief, and understand is called the source concept. Okay, source concept. That is what the system of reference of reality triangle gives us, the source concept. If anybody have a full source concept, they're going to have a reality reflecting that concept. And if their source concept is actually favorable and conducive to what they want in life, then they will actually experience life that is desirable and favorable. Okay, back to the human construct. From a religious and spiritual perspective, the outcome of life that a person experiences is related to a spiritual energy that is derived from the good deed they have performed or as a result of the bad deeds they have performed for other people, or in order for them to have a certain fullness of perception or awareness about something, they are dependent on what's called merit deed, which are the seed of wisdom and understanding that allow a person to experience a reality that is favorable, desirable, and with clarity. Okay, from a Christian perspective, it is the golden rule: do to other people what you will have done unto yourself. So when you do something good to other people, we accumulate some seed in the good deed seed. When we do something bad for other people, we accumulate a lot of bad deed seed. When we raise other people's awareness and wisdom, we accumulate a bunch of merit deed. And those are like fortune account. Okay, if we have a lot of good deed in our good fortune account, we experience positive outcome in life. When we have a lot of bad deed, that's a lot of negative outcome. And if we have accumulated a lot of merit deed, then our awareness about life will have a higher chance of becoming full. And we'll discuss what that means later when we talk about fullness of awareness. Jumping to the scientific system of reference called the root cause formula. What we got out of that system of reference is that the outcome in life, the final outcome in life, is a result of the images that we hold in our minds. Okay? Clear mental images equals reality in life. Just like a scientist has a clear mental image of what the outcome of his experiment would be, and he goes about conducting an experiment that arrives at the same outcome. So if a person can maintain a clear mental image about what it is that they want in life, then when their images is positive and clear, they will actually believe it. They will actually experience that as part of their life. Okay? So the fullness of awareness is actually having all three. All right, so fullness of awareness is actually having all three of these systems of reference in place to be a tool to be used for ourselves, and to have source concept that is favorable, to have mental images that is positive, and to have a plenty of good deeds and merit deed that is conducive to us understanding and being aware of whatever it is that we are trying to become aware about. Okay? So, any impression or question about that so far? Most of us have gone through this already, right? Okay. If those of you who are not familiar with some of these concepts or terminology, you can go back to some of our previous video and watch the material on the inner being stuff. Okay. So with the three system of references in mind, I invite you to write the following statement down. Let's use, I think we're using red. Let's use red. Okay. Write this down. Awareness of something is reality of something. Okay? To have an awareness of something is to actually have the reality of that thing. Okay? To have an awareness of something is to have a reality of it. Take, for example, tell you a story. A poor farmer has been working very hard for most of his life. And as far as the poor farmer is concerned, money is not something that is possible for him to acquire and to ever become rich, because he's been working all his life. One day, as a farmer was tilling the soil, he dug up some gold. The farmer was tilling the soil and he dug up some gold. And the moment he dug up some gold, he realized, he came to awareness that, oh, there's gold on my land. And as he go about digging some more, he could become more fully aware of the fact that there is now gold on his land. And then he realized that, oh, I'm rich. It's that simple. Before having awareness of that of gold, the farmer was poor. The gold was always there in his land. The gold was always there in his land. But because he was never aware of it, he never had possession of it. He never had the reality of possessing gold, being rich. But the moment that he came across gold in his land, that is the moment that he became aware of it, and therefore that become part of his reality. Do you guys get that? To be aware of something is to have the reality of it. It's that simple. Yeah. And then if this farmer was to go and find out how to dig up the gold, how to extract it, how to purify it, how to sell it, what happened is that he begins to accumulate the source concept of extracting gold and mining gold. And if he starts to accumulate positive mental images about what it looked like to be rich, what to do with the money, for example. Okay, once he purified the gold, once he sell it, what is he going to do with the money? Once he have a clear mental image about what to do with the money, then he will really have the fullness of awareness of what it means to be rich. And so the next line I want you to write with me: fullness of, gonna write the word awareness, that's too long. Awareness okay, of fullness of awareness of something is enduring reality of that thing. The key word is enduring. Sustainable. Good word. Jung, I like that word too. You can use sustainable. Fullness of awareness of something is sustainable reality of something. So if the farmer one day was digging up gold and he became aware of having gold. Okay, so then he is now having the reality of gold. But until he is fully aware of how to dig up the gold, how to process it, how to refine it, how to sell it, what to do with the money, then digging up the gold isn't going to be very sustainable for him. He may accidentally dig up one little piece of gold and that's it. All right, he'll get the gold and then it'll be gone in a short time afterward. But if the poor farmer has a clear mental images of it, he has a full source concept of it, and of course he uses the gold to perform good deeds and good merits for other people, then his reality of being a person of rich in gold is going to be very sustainable. You start to see the picture? The definition of fullness of awareness of something is the enduring or sustainable. I like the word sustainable. Okay, let's do that one. Sustainable. Okay, reality of something. Okay. So the opposite is two. So if a person, when we're mentioning something to a person, and if they have no idea what it is, then yeah, they don't have an awareness of it. But if we mention something to some people and they don't have a, let's go back a little bit. Let's see. Let's expand the idea of awareness a little bit more. Okay, let's expand a little bit more so that we have a clear understanding. Oh yeah, by the way, the poor farmer. The moment the poor farmer discovered gold, how do you think he feel? The moment that the poor farmer discovered gold, how do you think he feel? Positive or negative? Pretty positive, right? He's probably happy. Before discovering gold, the poor farmer had no idea that he could be rich. In fact, he may think that he may think that being rich is impossible, right? He may have a negative inner state with respect to being rich because he's worked all his life. The poor farmer worked all his life and he has never gotten rich. So he's probably at some point come to the conclusion that being rich is impossible, that it is an illusion. So his inner state, which comprises of his attitude and his mindset, mental attitude and mindset, what we feel and what we think, could be negative. So in this philosophy, to help us come to a fullness of awareness of something, we define awareness as follows. Okay. So if a person is unaware of something, unaware or not aware of something, then their inner state is negative.
Sorry thầy cho em thoát tí em vô lại nha bạn.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Okay. So if a person is unaware of something or not aware of something, then their inner state is negative. Okay, negative. When we first think, anybody here has a negative inner state when it comes to money? Have you ever thought about money and feel bad? Or about anything else? If we speak to a person and we mention another aspect of life, let's say marriage relationship. Okay, when we talk to somebody and we mention marriage relationship, and what they have is a negative inner state with respect to, say, their spouse or how the marriage is, then we say that person does not have an awareness of harmonious marriage relationship just yet. When we talk about health, for example, when we talk to another person about health and their inner state is negative, they talk about their illness, they talk about their pain, they talk about how many doctor visits they have to go to. The inner state is negative. So we say those people, you're not aware of a state of health just yet. You're very aware of a state of disease, not the state of health. Right? So to be unaware is to have an inner state that is negative. That's all. Okay. Once a person comes to a positive inner state, such as when the poor farmer discovered gold, he feels pretty positive. So when a person feels positive, we say that they are aware or they have awareness. Okay. So the inner state, let's use a different color. Let's use orange. So the inner state is positive. Okay, this is not just theories, this is the experiential knowledge. We can reflect upon ourselves and discover this to be true. When we mention anything, let's say when we mention marriage, and we have an inner state that is positive, we think well of our spouse, we have hope for the future, we're confident that our marriage would last, then we say that that person has an awareness about marriage. When we think about money and a person feels excited or grateful for the money they have or confident that they're going to be able to accumulate money, then we say, okay, you have an awareness of money. Okay, so when your inner state is positive, we say that you are aware. And if your inner state, okay, if your inner state is balanced and positive, and you have positive images, and you have favorable source concept, okay, then we say that you have fullness of awareness, or that you are fully aware. Okay, fully aware. And fully aware or fullness of awareness is to have a reality that is sustainable and enduring. So when we talk about our marriage, and a person has a balanced and positive inner state, and they have a positive, clear image of what their marriage relationship look like today, tomorrow, forever. If they have a favorable source concept, meaning they know how to have a happy marriage, they understand, they believe that it is possible, then that reality of a marriage is going to be enduring and sustainable. Similarly with money. When we talk about money, and a person has an inner state that is balanced and positive, they're not too excited, but they're totally balanced. Why? Because they're confident, they know how to do it. They're balanced because they have a positive image, they know what it looks like, what it means to have a lot of money. They have a source concept, they have a favorable source concept of how to accumulate money. They know what to do with money. Okay, they have a purpose for the meaningful use of money. Then can you guess that that person is going to have a very enduring and sustainable reality of money? Yeah, right, they can. So to have a fullness of awareness of something, or to be fully aware of something, is to have an inner state that is positive and balanced and positive, and mental images that is positive, and the source concept that is favorable. Okay, and to have an inner state that is balanced and positive, often it is an application of the energy or the spiritual dimension of the reality triangle. To be able to maintain a degree of balance with respect to anything, it requires a degree of spiritual wisdom. And in the inner being courses, we talked about level 3 wisdom, right? Balance, serenity, inner peace. And positive are the mental and emotional energies, such as honoring gratitude. When a person thinks about money and they are grateful to have money, they are honored by all the possibilities and all the people who have contributed to giving them the money. And they're very generous with other people. So when their inner state is balanced and positive, then it is one of the major legs to the triangle of reality of being fully aware. Okay, so that's basically what it means to have full awareness of something, is to have balanced and positive inner state, positive mental images, and favorable source concept. Okay, does anybody have any question, any inquiry, or any impression and realization about this before we move on? Hello, chị Dân Bùi. I'm grateful for your for your participation. Okay, alrighty. And interestingly enough, human beings are the only animals that has this level of awareness, right? Some people can argue that some animal, even plants and rocks, have some awareness, but really it is only human beings that we are capable of having a balanced inner state and mental images that is positive and favorable source concept. Okay, that's the perks about being human being. So if we have a fullness of awareness of something, we are able to bring that into reality. We may not even have to have, let's say we're thinking about money. Let's say we have a desire for $1 billion, okay, $1 billion US dollars. We may not have $1 billion in hand, but if our inner state is balanced and positive about it, if we know exactly what it looks like to have in possession $1 billion, and we have this source concept, we know every step and what it takes in order to acquire $1 billion. With no question, we fill in all the blank, all the step, all the plan. Then at any moment, we just initiate, take action, and then we can manifest the $1 billion. That's what it means to be fully aware of something. That's what it means to have a reality of something, even if we don't have it in our hand just yet. Okay? Does that make sense? That's why we say full awareness of something is enduring reality of it. Okay? Same thing with our health. Let's say we have a desire to be a triathlete, an Ironman triathlete, and running a marathon. Okay? 42 kilometers, 26 miles. If we have a balanced inner state, we're not worried, we're not so concerned about it. If we know what it looked like to be able to run a marathon, we know what it looked like to be a triathlete, and we know all the steps it takes to become a triathlete, then in an instant, we can become a triathlete. That's what it means to be fully aware of something and to have an enduring or sustainable reality of it. Okay? So some people, let's talk about money, right? Some people have the material possession of money. Okay, some people have the material possession of money. Let's say money. They may be born into a very rich environment, rich family. Okay, or maybe they win a lottery. Okay, in an instant, a person has the material of money. So we say that person is fortunate. It is a spiritual fortune. It is spiritual energy of good fortune. That person has a good fortune of money. That they win the lottery or they were born and they receive a big inheritance from their parent. We say that person is very fortunate. So they have the energy of it and they have the materialization of money. But if they don't have a source concept, if they don't know how to keep money, if they don't know how to use money for a meaningful purpose, then is it possible that that person will lose their money very quickly? Especially, yeah, chị Young, shake her head. Especially people who win the lottery. People who have never been in business, people who have never known how to make money or how to save money or how to use money properly, they come into a lottery ticket and they win a big chunk of money. And in a short amount of time, that money will disappear. That is because they are missing one of the legs in the formula for fullness of awareness of money. They just happen to be fortunate, they have an energy, a good fortune, which is an energetic component of money, but without the source concept of how to keep it, how to reinvest it, how to make more money, they're going to lose it. And many times, people who win the lottery may even get in worse debt than before. Children who were born into very rich family, who do not accumulate and cultivate the knowledge of how to make money, how to save money, how to put money to good use, will squander their fortune and they will lose it. So their reality of money is not sustainable because they're missing the source concept, or they're missing the positive image. They don't know what it looked like to have an enduring legacy of money. But if a person has a positive mental image, if a person has positive, favorable source concept, then their reality of money can be sustainable and enduring. Okay? All right. So, let's see. In our philosophy, in our school, the WIT school, we have been learning how to enrich ourselves. We have been learning how to enrich ourselves. Okay? There is a promise of a total holistic wealth, total holistic health. And we begin by studying or enriching our inner being, right? All of us have gone through the courses on enriching our inner being, which include our wisdom, our attitude, our character, our integrity and virtue. We have all been enriching our health. Some of us have taken the classes on understanding health. Some of us have been exercising the internal body transformation exercise. We have been developing our relationship with other people. We simply call it human relation. Okay. We have been enriching our relationship with people. My wife and I, we have never invested before, but due to our relation, our interaction with the people in the community, we now have a investment plan on how to become financially free in 3 to 5 years. Before that, we were just working and struggling and just paying bills and getting paid paycheck by paycheck. But through our enrichment of our relationship, human interaction, we have not only enriched our social connection, but we have planted the seed for our own financial independence. And obviously, all of us here, as part of our philosophy, have been studying how to enrich our marriage and family life. Okay, marriage and family. Okay, and now we are beginning to study finance, okay, business, and investing, which is part of this sharing today. Oops, excuse me. This is the roof of our house of holistic wealth. This middle part are the walls, and the inner being is the foundation. It has been a journey. We built a house from the bottom up. We spent a lot of time on our inner being. We're working on our health and human relationship, our families, and our marriage and our family. And now we get to start to build that roof of financial abundance. Okay? And that is why, once again, with the picture, this house of a holistic health, the finance and the material well-being is on top. Okay, so today we're working on this, but we can only work on this after we have already worked on the foundation of our inner being, our health, and our relationship. Okay, so if any of you who are viewing this video later and you have no idea what I'm talking about, just know that we're building this house on a roof. And if you have not have a strong foundation of inner being and health and relation just yet, it is a good idea to go back and study this stuff first. Because if you don't have this foundation stuff, anything we talk about in terms of finance, if you build a house on a roof, it will collapse if your walls and your foundation are not strong. Okay. So that's where we are. So the question to you guys is, what would your life look like? What would your life look like if you were have a fullness of awareness in all of these areas? And in fact, if you take a look at it, pretty much everybody's life revolves around this stuff. Every human being has an inner being, which is represented by the emotion, the mind, the spirit, the wisdom, the character, the attitude. Every human being has to deal with health. Every human being has to deal with human relation with other people. Okay, every human being is in some marriage or family relationship. Okay, every human being in this world has to deal with finance, business, and we are either on the producing end of investing or receiving end of investing. So this is basically a picture of a human being. So what would your life look like if you had fullness of awareness, if you have sustainable and enduring reality of inner being, health, human relationship, marriage, family, finance, business, and investing? Okay, so here's a question. So this is like, our life would be pretty. Thank you, Chị Young, for your comment. You already have images in your mind. Okay, great. Let me see if I can merge meeting to my window so I can see everything. Okay. Chị Hà Nguyễn is no longer here. Okay, she said, okay, she left. Thank you, Chị Dung, for replying to chị Hà on practicing English. So Ji Youngbu said that I'm very the sharing are very useful, and I already have images in my mind that I will inspire people all over the world one day. Thank you for your teaching. Okay, wonderful, Ji Young. Okay.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Frank, because today it's really the first day I try to this room, and it's the only thing I'm learning now. I start with just 5 months, and awareness is the very important things we need to learn. And I'm very happy today I can hear in English, and many useful knowledge I hear today, because it's very very important in our life, and in investing, business, finance, and family, human relationship, health, and inner being is very 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 important. And when I see you you speaking, and I have the image in my mind, and I think that's in one day I will share to everybody. And currently now I work in a foreign company, and sometimes I use the with the knowledge to share with them. And according to the money, the triangle, I don't know the name of triangle, but the triangle with the people and the government and the richer, I don't know what its name, but I use when when before I decide any project. Is very useful for my career. So thank you so much. So I can hear in English, and I will inspire to the my partner. But thank you.
Great.
I don't know
Yeah.
the name of the triangle, but I just remember
We'll
the
get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. Okay. I'm still
yes.
experimenting with the English vocabulary myself. Okay. And when we get to that, we'll settle on the word. Okay. But for now, I'm curious. Where are you right now? What part of the world are you in right now?
I'm in Vietnam, in Vũng Tàu City, and
Okay. Okay. You're in Vũng Tàu. Okay.
the garment company. Yeah.
Okay. If you really want, just to satisfy your curiosity, the word that you're trying to talk, that you're trying to come up with, And we'll get to this. We'll definitely get to this, but just a little preview. Okay. You're talking about the government.
Yeah, the government, the richer, and the people. So
Okay.
yeah,
Rich people.
start with any project you
The
have.
rich.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
the
that's
rich
yes, that is
and the people.
yeah, people. Yeah,
Okay.
that one.
We're gonna call that. We're gonna call that the power
The power.
triad. Triad. Anything triangle, triad. Why is it the
Try
power
Oh,
triad? Because these are the powerful groups in society that decide the fate of
yes.
everything.
Okay, understand. So
Government has the power
thank you so
to
much.
decide your
Yeah,
fate.
yeah,
The people has the power to
yeah,
decide, and the rich people, the rich, has the power to decide. So these are
yeah.
called the power triad. Okay. If we
Okay,
are to
thank you.
be successful in business,
Mm,
in investing in anything, we have
mm.
to satisfy the power triad. We have
Yes,
to
thank you.
satisfy the people. We have
Mm,
to satisfy the government. We have to satisfy rich people.
yeah,
If we violate the power triad in any of this corner, our business, our investment, our finance will break. Okay. And we'll talk about that a little later. Okay, that's just a preview. Okay, the power triad.
yeah,
Triad is a group of three people. Okay, all right.
yeah.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
All right. Exciting. Okay, very exciting. You bring a lot of positive energy, and I can totally sense it. You are a successful person who has a reality of money, and I look forward to your contribution to my sharing. Okay, and other people contribute as well. Me, I do not have what might be considered a a full awareness of money just yet. I'm on the, I'm just studying myself. Okay,
Mm,
it is only upon coming in contact with the philosophy of the WIT organization that I have beginning to develop the favorable source concept, the positive mental images. Okay, and as I am sharing, my attempt at sharing is actually my way of accumulating positive energy, positive fortune. Okay, so that I can eventually will also experience the reality of it. Okay, so I'm grateful for your sharing. Okay,
thank you so much again.
let's move on, and I look forward to you more sharing from you later soon. Okay, so we were talking about awareness of money. Awareness of money, just in general, right? Awareness of money. And um, when we think about it, in terms of awareness about money and things like that, um, are there times in our own lives that we had more awareness of money than now? That's an interesting question to ponder. Has there been a time in our own life that we had more awareness of money than now? And going back to the definition, let's just refer to the definition. So the definition of awareness is to have a positive inner state. The definition of being fully aware is to have balance and positive inner state, positive mental images, and positive favorable source concept. So has there been a time in our life where we were more aware or more fully aware about money than now? How about when we were very little children? Do children have awareness of money? Do little kids have awareness of money? What do you guys think? You can answer or you can type it in the chat. Do little kids have awareness of money? Do they have the reality of money? Well, if you think about it, when we were children and we wanted anything, let's say we want candy or maybe a stuffed animal. When we think about it, did we have positive inner state? We had a positive inner state. We may see an advertisement on TV and we have a positive inner state about it. We have a positive mental images about what the toys look like, what the stuffed animal look like, or what the candy look like. And do we have a favorable source concept? Do we know how to get it? Yeah, we just ask our parents. And then before we know it, even before birthday or Christmas, we may already have what we want. And so life was pretty easy as children, right? When we were children, we had a pretty awareness and pretty good awareness about money. We were able to get what we want. Toys, candy, food, whatever, because we maintained a relatively positive or balanced or positive inner state. We knew exactly what we wanted, mental images, and we knew exactly how to go about getting it. And so as children, we had a pretty good life. But somehow as we grew up and we became adult, and somehow, when we think about money, we start to go negative. We started thinking money is hard to get. We start to accumulate all of this negative conception and negative images about money. We look at other people losing money and squandering money, and we start to accumulate and cultivating negative images. And we started accumulating unfavorable source concept, and our inner state goes negative. And so we wonder why we don't have as much money or as much of the material things that we want. Whereas when we're children, we pretty much got what we want. So let's see if we can re-establish our awareness about money. Okay, let's now that we're adult, we have to approach it from an adult approach, not just little kid. Okay, but here's an approach to money from an adult understanding. So I'm going to write this down. I invite you to write with me. Money. Okay. Here's a definition. There are many definitions of money, right? You're taking economic courses, you take investment courses, we go to school. Many different definitions of money. However, very few of those definitions of money that we learn in the worldly perspective will actually give us a fullness of awareness of money. One that is enduring and sustainable, right? We may go to investment school, we learn something about money, and we will lose. We go to economic, we become an economic analysis. We have certain understanding of money, and we can analyze the money of the country, yet we may not be, monetarily rich. But the following definition of money is a definition that will help us come to a fullness of awareness about its value, what it means, and how to actually have a reality of it. Okay, so money is defined as is the object. Let me read it and then I'll rewrite it for you. Money is the object of universal equivalent, representing the value created by human beings, governed by the law of supply and demand and the law of compensation. Okay, I'll read that one more time, then I'll write it for you guys. Money is the object of universal equivalent, representing the value created by human beings, governed by the law of supply and demand and the law of compensation. So here goes. Money is the object of universal equivalent. Okay. Representing the value created by human beings, comma, governed by the law of supply and demand and the law of compensation. Okay? Money is the object of universal equivalent representing the value created by human beings, governed by the law of supply and demand and the law of compensation. Okay? From this definition, we will arrive at the fullness of awareness about finance, business, and investment. And it will be a sustainable and enduring reality once we get this definition. So once again, money is the object of universal equivalent, representing the value created by human beings. What does that mean? Okay, so what does that mean, the object of universal equivalent? Well, let's begin with long time ago, when human being first came to certain awareness about money. Even before money were materialized in the form of, what we experience today, people understood the idea of universal equivalent. Okay, let's say a farmer. No, let's say a fisherman. A fisherman goes fishing, and what he considered to be of value is the fish, or the fishes. And if he has a lot of fish, he looked at his neighbor and he's noticed that his neighbor has a bunch of, let's say, firewood. And he needed the firewood when he has a fish. So he goes to the neighbor and say, hey, I have a bunch of fish. I want some firewood. Can you give me some firewood in exchange for some fish? And his neighbor said, well, gee, I have a lot of firewood, but I don't have a fish. But I don't want all of your fish. I just want only 2 fishes. So I'll exchange you 2 sticks of firewood for 2 fishes. So thereby, there's an agreement of universal equivalent. Okay, it is an equal exchange representing the value created by the human being. The fisherman created the value, the fish. The person who chopped the wood created the value for the other guy by chopping the wood. So when they agree, universal equivalent, when they agree that those 2, how many fish equals how many firewood, then it is a universal equivalent. And it is a value created by human beings. Money does not exist by its own. It needs human beings. And then other, study of economics and finance, they'll teach you like money is a medium of exchange and all that stuff. All of that just arise out of this foundational definition that money is the object of universal equivalent, created by the value, representing the value created by human beings. Okay. And so at some point, when people realize that, okay, so there's a universal equivalent, and then let's say that the fisherman has a lot of fish, and he wants to buy something, he wants to exchange. That would begin before it was the bartering system. The keyword is bartering, B-A-R-T-E-R. I'll write it down. Okay, so I'll write it down for you guys. So I'll say, oh, you are learning English. Okay. Bartering. So as human being in our history, our economic system beginning with bartering or barter. It is an exchange of a item for another item of an equal universal equivalent in value. Okay, basically when people agree on the value, they exchange the item, just direct exchange bartering. If the fisherman wanted some meat, okay, he's got a lot of fish, but he wanted some meat, let's say deer meat. And he would go to another neighbor and he would say, hey, I have a lot of fish. I want some deer meat. Would you like to trade? And the guy who has a lot of deer meat, he said, sorry, I don't eat fish. Sorry, I don't eat fish. I don't like fish. And so the guy with a lot of fish had to start thinking, okay, what can I do? Okay, so now that I want the meat, but he won't take my fish. What can I find to be of equal equivalent? He has to go to the guy who has firewood. He has to exchange for a bunch of firewoods. Then he can and go back and ask the guy who has meat, hey, do you want some firewood in exchange for some meat? Then the guy who has the meat say, oh yeah, I do need some firewood, even though I don't want the fish, but I want firewood. And so the guy who has the fish has to go exchange for a bunch of firewood, give the firewood to the guy who has the meat, and then so he would be able to receive the meat. After a while, that becomes a little cumbersome, right? Especially if we're trying to exchange something that people don't want, right? We have a lot of fish that people don't want to fish. We have to go find, a firewood. And if, let's say, the fisherman want a fur coat, okay? The fisherman now wants a fur coat, and he has a neighbor that has a bunch of fur coat. And he goes to the guy who has a fur coat. He says, look, I have firewood and I have fish. Would you like to take some firewood or some fish in exchange for your fur coat? And the guy say, no, I'm not interested in fish, or I'm not interested in firewood, but I am interested in something else. I don't know, make something up. And so because it becomes so complicated to having to go find the actual item that the other person wants. And so people start to realize that why don't we exchange it for a medium? Something in between. Medium of exchange to represent the value. So instead of directly bartering, people will come together and agree, okay, why don't we use seashell as a medium of exchange? Okay, so somebody will come up with a bunch of a system whereby people would collect seashell. Maybe there's a hub of exchange. Maybe it's a market. There's one person who collect a lot of seashell, and they say, I only have seashell. I have a lot of seashells, but I'll give you seashell for your firewood. And then he'll go to another person. I'll give you seashell for your fish. And then go to another person. I'll give you seashell for your meat. I'll give you seashell for your fur. And then everybody in the village now have seashells. And then if they want any of the items, instead of exchanging the direct exchange of whatever that they produce, they only need to use seashell to exchange for whatever they want. So it is called a medium of exchange. At some point when humanity grow as a civilization to a point where they have government, that is when a medium of exchange become invented, right? Government would mint coin. They would be they would be the party that decide how much value is in the coin. They use gold, they use silver, they use whatever, as long as the government controls the value of the medium of exchange, then other people will exchange their product or their service for that medium of exchange. And so they accumulate the medium of exchange. Why? Because it's convenient. They just use that medium of exchange in order to change it for whatever that they perceive to be of universal equivalent in terms of value. Okay, so that's basic economic. Okay, nowadays our medium of exchange has become paper money, and it has even evolved to digital currency, right? Digital. We have bank account. We have stock account. We don't hold them in paper. There was a time when people used to hold stock stock holding in their hand. Okay, it's literally paper. Nowadays, we don't own stock in paper. We all own stock in company that has nothing more than a number, a mathematic calculation. But there has to be a central body, usually a central bank, a government that control the medium of exchange. The paper money, let's say United States dollar, is a medium of exchange that is used throughout the world, right? It is an object of universal equivalent, representing whatever value that a person has. If a person produces a lot of value for other people, they can acquire a lot of US dollars. But that medium of exchange is not usable everywhere. Some money, for example, Vietnamese dollar. Vietnamese dollar is a medium of exchange that is only useful in Vietnam. People in Vietnam has a universal equivalent agreement for the value of Vietnamese dollar. But if we take Vietnamese dollar to Japan or another country, then they won't accept it. Okay, so society has evolved so that money has taken on more and more advanced form. And nowadays, with electronic money, it becomes a simple matter to exchange the currency rate between different countries. Okay, so I think this is basic stuff, right? Does anybody have any question or any impression about this stuff before we move on? Okay, so the real important question is, where do money come from? Okay, so we know that money is a medium of exchange, or the money is an object of universal equivalent representing the value created by human being, governed by the law of supply and demand, as well as the law of compensation, not to mention the law of the government. Okay, we didn't include that in the definition, but we're going to have to keep that in mind. So how do we get money? Where do money come from? Where do money come from?
Money come from the God, come from the rich, and come from the people.
Okay, those are all good. Those are all good answer and all correct. Okay, since especially Young, you are in the business world, so you know a lot of good definition. Okay, so let's beginning with the very, very, very root of money. The root of money, like the example I used before, the fisherman, the woodcutter, the deer hunter, right? Those are the people who got their money from Mother Nature. From Mother Nature. Okay? Or if you're a Christian, from God the Father. Okay? Money come from Mother Nature. Fish come from the sea, that is part of nature. The wood come from the forest, that is nature. The person who hunt the deer come the forest, part of nature. Okay? Where else in terms of Mother Nature that people get money from? What are some form of money that it's come from nature that you guys can think of? Money comes from Mother Nature. Ron, did you get that part?
It's like the oat, like the fish, energy, everything in the nature.
Yeah. Pretty much
like
everything.
like we get for free.
Yeah, you think that we get it for free. Okay. So there is
because you said that is I like you write here the mother nature. So I understand that the mother can give
Mother give it for free, right? Yeah, Mother gives it for free.
yeah.
It seems like Mother give, yeah. So on the one hand, to think it from Mother Nature is a useful term to use, okay? Because it helps us be grateful, okay? It helps us raise our energy level to positive. to think it from
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
from Mother Nature. Mother Nature,
Sure.
okay, nurturing us, right? Mother
Mineral
Nature
products.
gives it to us, offers to us for free.
Mm. Yes, okay.
Okay, we'll
From the
find out why it's not free
sea,
later, but
it's
we'll find out
like
why.
from the sea and from the
Yeah.
forest, mineral products.
Mineral, yeah, minerals.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So raw material, essentially. Raw material is
Raw material.
stuff that come from Mother Nature. The medicine that we use nowadays, even though it has been processed, it originally came from poison from snakes and frogs, from plants. All right. The medicine that we use to cure, they came from Mother Nature. Okay. Some of them came from poison. Some of them came from animals. Some of them come from plants. Okay. So those are all from Mother Nature. The purse that we wear, okay, the purse that we wear used to come from leather, real leather. Some of them still come from real leather. Could be a leather of a alligator, could be a leather of a cow. Okay. And once the government support the extraction of material from Mother Nature, then we can turn that into money. Right. So but the thing about that is that even though we think it's free, even though we think money that comes from Mother Nature is free, it is not actually free. Okay. Why? Because money is subjected to not only the law of supply and demand, but the law of compensation. The law of compensation. You have to give back what you take. Okay, you have to give back what you take. Take, for example, if we consider lumber to be a free offering from the forest, then we take the lumber, we chop the tree. We keep chopping the tree until there are no more trees in the forest. And then no more Mother Nature to give tree. If you want to keep on getting money from Mother Nature, we have to give back to Mother Nature. That is why in the West, for every tree that the lumber company chopped down, they had to plant, I think, 20 or something like that. I think Canada, you guys know that more, right, Ron? You have a lot of trees. Yeah. You give back to Mother Nature.
We replant everything we cut down.
There you go. Yeah. You have to think about sustainability. Okay. Sustainability is the idea that you have to renew the resources, because raw material is not unlimited resources. What about fishing? My dad told me the story that he moved from the north of Vietnam to South Vietnam and settled in the village of Xuân Ninh in Cam Ranh. And they were fisher people. They were fishermen. The entire village moved from the north to the south. And in 2 years, all the fish were gone. They did not know how to give back to Mother Nature. Okay.
So it means that the money come from the mother nature. In real is for free, but if we don't give back it, so we don't have more in the future.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Not only that here's the thing, not only that we don't get more in the future, it runs out, but we will actually have to pay the price. For
Yeah.
example, in the
Correct.
mountain, right?
Yeah.
In a mountain, if we cut down all the trees, what happened to the mountain? You get landslide.
Yes. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So we actually
Yeah,
pay the price if we don't
Yeah.
think about paying it back to Mother Nature.
Yeah. Correct. Yes.
If we
Yeah.
harvest fossil fuel, oil, carbon, coal, right? Those are from Mother Nature, raw material. Oil from the ground, coal from the ground, and we burn fossil fuel, and we don't know how to give back to Mother Nature, guess what? We're creating greenhouse gas. We're creating carbon dioxide. We are creating global warming. So we are paying the price for not taking care of Mother Nature. Right? Global warming. Every
Can I have a
year.
question? Can I
Yeah.
have a question on this? I'm living in Vũng Tàu City where we have a very nice beach there, and the people come there for swim, and swim is for free. It means that if we come to the any swimming pool, we have to pay money. But when we come to the Mother Nature, like the beach, so we don't have to pay anything, but we can swim that.
Yeah.
And
If you don't
after
pay,
that's good. That's good.
right,
My
okay,
question.
imagine.
That's
Good. Yeah. Good idea. Good question, right? If 1 million people comes to a public beach, not pay for anybody and keep using it, what do you think is going to happen to that beach?
yeah. And then we after swimming, in I remember in the any weekend we have the one team. My son also to charge that team, and we collect the garbage. Yeah, we make for the beach for more clean.
Yeah.
So that is the same one thing you are speaking now. That's we do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So when we
Yeah,
go
thank
to
you.
a beach that is regulated by the government or owned by a private property, by a private person, we pay them. They use that money to maintain the beach. But if we go to a beach that is not governed by anybody and we don't pay it back in some way, after a while, it's going to get damaged. After a while, it's going to get depleted. It'll get polluted. And then we don't get to enjoy it. Or we will actually have to pay the price for it in much, much bigger way. Right? Consider the global warming situation, for example. We get tsunami. We get storms. We get more natural hurricane. We get more flood. That is one way that Mother Nature makes us pay for taking from Mother Nature. It is a law of causality, the law of cause and effect that is in effect globally. Okay, so here we're studying the law of causality, right? In the being course, we study good cause, favorable condition give us positive outcome in life. Things like global warmings are undesirable outcome. Storms and hurricanes and tsunamis are undesirable outcome. Well, those undesirable outcomes came from some undesirable seed that we have planted, some actions or behavior or lack of awareness that we have planted in the past. Yeah. So those natural resources are actually human-made. Think about it. Think about that one. Tsunamis, hurricanes, global warming, seemingly natural disaster, but they're not natural disaster. They are man-made disaster when we think about it from a causality perspective. So when we take from Mother Nature, we have to pay it back. Okay, pay it back in the form of maintaining, okay, replanting the trees. If a farmer farm and suck up all the nutrient from the land, after a while the land is barren, is dead. You cannot produce. The United States has a phenomenon whereby the central United States, after so many decades of farming, the soil becomes useless. They had no nutrient. They become dust and they fly all over the place and they become a hazard. They contribute to natural disaster. Okay, it's called a dust bowl. In part of the United States, it's called the dust bowl, when over farming and lack of nurturing of the soil, lack of reusing and reinvesting into the actual soil, it turned the soil into dust particle and it flies all over the place. And it's a problem. That is when we do not pay back to Mother Nature. Okay, and of course, when it comes to taking from Mother Nature and making money from Mother Nature, it is also governed by the law of supply and demand. When something is rare and you are able to stimulate the demand, for example, diamond. Okay, diamond and gold are considered valuable because the number of quantity is relatively rare, and the people who produce them are able to stimulate the demand by infusing non-material element. It is the non-material element of a rare item that makes it valuable. Remember in the inner being course, we were talking about the non-materialization or the materialization of non-material aspect of ourselves, right? The business world is very smart. They can infuse non-material element into a product and will raise the price of that product, and thereby you get more money. Or the government can control that. If a certain natural resources, such as let's say lumber, okay, if we harvest lumber unlimitedly, then the price will go down low because of supply. But if the government decide to limit the number of lumber, then the price would go up. So the government has a big impact on money that come from Mother Nature. In fact, all money that comes from Mother Nature, if we want it to actually become real money, it has to go through a government regulation and support. The government has to support it. Well, if we try to extract or mine something and the government ban it, then we may be able to extract money from Mother Nature. We do it illegally, and then we get to pay the price, not only from Mother Nature, but from the government. So the government was created, the law was created to enforce the causality of human life and experience. Okay, so okay.
So it look like the money from the Mother Nature is for free, but it's controlled by the government, and we have to get the permit from the government to ultimately exploit it.
Yeah, diamond, for example, diamond, right? Diamond. The company that mine diamond mine lots and lots and lots and lots of diamond. But diamond prices keep very high because the company that produces diamond only release a tiny amount of diamond into the world. So they control the price of diamond. The company that mine diamond, they has a lot of diamond. But if they were to release all the diamond that they harvest, then the diamond price would go down. Okay.
To make clear here that in the principle we said that the money come from the Mother Nature is for free, but actually it's controlled by the government, and we have get the permission before we get the source from the Mother Nature.
Yeah.
So how about some small person, they can get a fish from the sea? It's look like not get the permit from the government. I think that's like we just concerned about the big project. When we get the money from the Mother Nature, we have to get the permission from the government.
Let me tell you my own story. Yeah. No, I'm in the United States. Okay. This is when I was in college. I think I was 20 years old. Okay. Myself and 4 other friends. We went to the beach at night, 11 o'clock p.m. at night, just to hang around, just to play and socialize. And we discovered that during that night there were clams. There were clams, this small clam on the beach. They were this big. Okay, a clam this big, about bigger than my fist. And so we grabbed a bucket and we started to collect the clam. Oh wow, so much clam! Let's collect the clam and bring it home. As we were collecting the clams, a ranger came. A policeman who patrolled
the policeman,
the beach. Okay. And my friend and I, we were caught clamming. And we were given a $5,000 citation. That $5,000 broke down to, number one, fishing without a license. We did not have a permit at that time to go clamming and fishing.
Really?
Number two, we went clamming at the wrong hours. In that part, you can only do it during dusk and dawn. 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., dusk and dawn. But we would do it at 11 o'clock at night. Number 3, we were cited for clamming, for catching clam that was smaller than the size. So they have to be mature. They have to be big. So when the policeman caught us, he measured every single clam. We harvested about 100 clam, and about 90 of them were smaller than the size. So each of the clam multiplied by 90 clams give us that, yeah. So we were hit with 3 citations. Okay, so wrong hours, no permit, wrong size, and
How about the penalty? The penalty.
yeah. So the government is created to enforce the law of causality and to protect Mother Nature. To protect Mother Nature. Yeah. So in a country that does not have that kind of law, guess what? Yeah, everybody would go and clam, and in a week there will be no more clam. Yeah. See, so that was an interesting learning experience for me in appreciation of Mother Nature and the law.
Yeah.
In the law.
Okay, and the law. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I still tell that story. Of course, we were college student. Okay, I was a college student, and so we went to court. We had to go to court. Okay, a judge was judging us on the citation. We had to go to court. There's the judge, and we read a statement, and we basically said that we were good student. We didn't know the law. We are sorry, and we are willing to do what it takes. And so we asked for mercy. We asked for magnanimity. We asked for tolerance. And the judge reduced the $5,000 sentence to $150.
Gotcha.
From $5,000 to $150 because we're a bunch of students. Okay.
Yeah.
And so
we will do better when we know about the law, and
yeah,
now we know
you better
about
respect the law.
Yeah.
Okay? Ignorance of the law is not an excuse for breaking the law. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse for breaking the law. And the law was created to protect Mother Nature. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's a fun little share. Okay. So yeah, Mother Nature, if human law does not make you pay, Mother Nature and the natural law will make you pay. That is the golden rule. In the Bible, it says that every hair on your head will be counted on Judgment Day. That what you sow, so shall you reap. Okay. Pollution, landslide, global warming, storm, tsunami, all of these are causal outcome of humanity not giving back or paying it forward appropriately. Okay, so that's a lesson for anybody drawing money directly from Mother Nature. Country that is producing, raw materials and stuff like that, have to pay attention to that kind of thing. Okay. Okay. Next, where else can we get money from? Where else can we get money from? Earlier, we talked about the government. So let's consider that we can get money from the government. Now, we're not talking about government giving us permit to draw money from Mother Nature. We're talking about money from the government themselves. Usually people who deal, big government would know, but most people, we don't know. But most of us, we just kind of work for our company. We don't really understand that we can actually extract money directly from the government. How do you think we do that? How do we get money from the government? Where do money come from when it comes to the government?
In my opinion, we can get money from the government when we have the new policy from the government. We can we look like the company, the enterprise, when we have the supporting from the government. Like after COVID time, we have the policy to reduce 30% of the corporate income tax. That is the money we save with the policy from the government. That's the we have the money from the government. If we don't have that policy, we have to pay more tax But when we
Yeah.
have the supporting from the government, we have to tax.
Yeah.
And another many policy that the government to support like the VIT with the we reduce 10% to 8% for I remember 3 years already. That
Yeah.
is that is
Yeah,
money
those
we
are
can save more from the government. Yeah.
those are money that we can save thanks to government
Yeah.
policy, so that we can say that, yeah, we're drawing money from the government. Okay.
Yeah.
At the same time, we can also draw money directly from the government based on the government initiatives and projects. Government
Yeah, I remember.
initiate
I
project
remember.
and initiative that support the population, the people. So whatever initiative that the government come forward, whatever project that they come forward, a person can draw money from directly from the government by being part of that plan. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. When COVID happened, the
Mm.
government wanted to mass produce millions and millions of vaccine. Right? Vaccine.
Yes.
And the company that knows how to work with the government to create the vaccine is able to draw money directly from the government.
Mm. Yeah.
Right? When the government wants to build roads that connect city to city,
Sure. Yes.
so the
Right.
contractors are able to extract money directly from the government by performing the work that the government offers. Okay, so in general, any initiative, any project that serves the public good initiated by the government is a source of money that you can draw from, including land. Okay, who owns the land in our country? In the Vietnam country, the government technically owns the land. The people
Yes.
just have the right to use the land. The government can come in
Oh.
and take the land at any moment. If the government wants to build some project, they can remove people from the land.
Yes.
And they give it to another company that is going to develop the land. So that is one way that they can draw land directly from the government.
Yes.
In the United States,
Right.
because it is a democratic country with a republic and the law, is a little harder for the government to come in and just take people's land. But still, the government at any time can still call on the law called eminent domain, meaning this part of the land is intended to be used for some important government or public good. Then the government can take that land. So land, essentially, even though land, you can think of it as Mother Nature, but really it's from the government because the government owns the land. Okay. In the United States, there's a business called land banking. Land banking. You bank on the land. So a group of business and investor, what they do is they just attend a bunch of meetings, the government meeting. The government would talk about the development of some land, and they would pay attention, they would take note, they would talk to government officials, and they would come up with a packet of information of which land is going to be developed in the near future. And then they would buy, and then they would sell those land, and they would make the money off of the of that buying and sale of land. And the person who buys and who buy those land, all they have to do is wait until that land gets developed, and then the land would gain value. And so we draw money directly from the land, which is actually from the government information. Okay. But the thing about drawing money from the government is that it's not very sustainable because government policy change, regime change, party change, right? In the United States, we have two-party system, the Republican and Democrat. When one group of politicians is in power, they are in support of more vaccine. Another group goes in power, they don't support the vaccine. So the people who depend on drawing the money from the government by way of the vaccine will make money only when the government is supportive of that policy, but not the other party, right? So whenever there is a change of government, there's a change of party or the change of people in power, there's also a change in the people who become rich.
Can I have
Yeah.
a question on this?
Yeah.
that you just said that the policy change and the power person also change every period. So it is correct if we say that whoever to know in advance, to know and to guess that the policy, so that person is win.
That's exactly what rich people do.
I don't
Okay.
know in another
Rich
country,
people,
but in Vietnam, for example, when I stay here and I know that I know the information, even not issue, but I know the
yeah,
information, the policy for the land something we is in next some month, but I know it first and I make the action first, so I win. Like this is a
that's
correct or not?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we'll talk about how information is money in a little bit. Okay.
Yeah.
But to know what the government policy is going to be and be able to predict that is one way that people are able to extract money from the government. Not only do they know in advance, but people who have money and the resources, they also influence the policy. Right? Big company, especially in the United States, big company will actually hire professional people called advocate or lobbyists. Lobbyists are people who will meet regularly with government and try to influence government official to change policy in the direction of the benefit of their business. So yeah, people with money
Also,
can influence the government.
I have another question. In reality, when the COVID time in Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province, we have a big Japan company. It's a furniture company, and I see that they have a very good relationship with the government. Of course, that they pay a lot of tax for the government. And then during the COVID time, almost the company have to work outside, to stay outside, but just that company can pick up the worker or the trip and go to the company every day. And when we make the question why we are stay in the same province, but we have to stay and work outside. But that company can pick up the worker every day. And after that, I know that they have very good relationship with the government, with the tax, and they pay a lot of tax in the
Yeah.
province. So they have the, how can I say, they have the advantage, they have the like the specify the policy just apply for that company because very big company.
Yeah.
That is the same topic we are talking about here. Then we say that we have the policy change and the power change, and that in that case, I see that the company have the money from the government because they can pick up the worker every day to the factory and check out the product every day. In my company is no, because we have to stay at the stay and work at the company,
Yeah.
and and we have the 1 month no production. That's it. All the workers stay at home because we don't have the relationship with the government. That's
There
it.
you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're going to extract money from the government, then we need to have a good relationship with the government. And we have to understand that government change, policy change. And so the question is because government change all the time and policy change all the time, how do you maintain sustainability with respect to drawing money from the government? How do you maintain sustainability when it comes to drawing money from the government if the government change all the time and policy change all the time? Right, one way, the hard way, is to influence the government. Okay, many companies invest a lot of money into influencing the government, change policy, influencing the elected officials. But another more sure and more enduring and sustainable way is to make sure that you are helping the government support the people. So when we think about it, Government exists. What for? Why do government exist? All government since prehistoric time to now, since civilization and people coming together, all government exists in order to serve people. It doesn't matter which type of government, doesn't matter what political system, it is always the case that government, number one, depends on the power and the consent of the people. Right? Government only exists when there is a consent of the people. Doesn't matter what kind of political system you have. One party, multi-party, democratic, republic, one party dictator. It is always the case that government exists only by the consent of the governed, the people being governed. At any time that the people are not happy with the government, do people not rise up and change the government? Right? We call those revolution. Right? In whatever country, whether in the United States or Vietnam, when the people are not happy with the government, they will replace the government. So if we are in the business of drawing money from the government, it is to our interest and sustainability to make sure that the government serves the people. Right. So when we're thinking about drawing money from money, we're thinking about the kind of policy that's going to happen, the kind of policy that that we predict or influence. Do they serve the people in the long run? If they continue to serve the people, if they help the people maintain trust in their government. In the United States, we have a Republican and a Democratic Party that changes places all the time. But a company or a business that can help whichever party in power to serve the people and help the people support the government, then that business is going to maintain their sustainability with respect to their ability to draw money from the government. So we have to help the people if you want it to be sustainable. Of course, there are other illegal ways of people who use loopholes and government contracts and legal loophole to extract money from a government. But that usually happens in the short term. When somebody finds out, you have to pay the price. Just like we pay the price when we don't give back to Mother Nature. We pay the price when we don't help the government maintain its own sustainability and its own transparency. If we take advantage of Mother Nature, we pay the price of Mother Nature. If we take advantage of the government, we pay the price that the government will dish out. So it is in the interest of any business to try to draw money from the government to help the government help the people. If we can maintain the people's trust in the government, that ensure the stability of that government, and then we can ensure the stability of the income that we draw from the government. Okay? And then next, obviously, we draw money from people. Okay? So whereas government change sometimes can be difficult and only, people think really big can do that. With Mother Nature, you have to give back. Okay? With people, there's an unlimited amount of money we can draw from people. An unlimited amount of money that we can draw from people. Money comes from people. Okay? As long as the people agree to what it is that we want to give in terms of a universal equivalent, we make money. All of us here have made money from people, right? Whether we're running a business or whether we're working for some people, it is not some people that give us money. If we're an employee, it is some people, our boss, our company that give us money. The company makes money by selling some service or product to people. And it is through the agreement of people that our product and service get exchanged for money. It's that simple. And there is no limit on how much money you can draw from people because there's no limit on what kind of product or services that you can offer to people. Mother Nature, there's limit because the earth has only that amount of natural resources. But through the government and through people, in terms of scientific invention, for example, you can turn Mother Nature and raw material into unlimited resources as well. Why? Because people. Something that has no value in the past may have a lot of value today because people have applied it. Okay. Is an example? Bird's nest. Bird's nest, right? Swallow's nest. Tổ yến, swallow's nest. Right? Historically, swallow's nest is just a nest from a bird. It has no value. It comes from Mother Nature. It has no value. But some people turn that into some kind of medicinal. Through science, through the regulation and approval and the support of government, some people have turned bird's nest into money, whereas before it has no value. Yeah, that is an example of how a human being, people, can basically turn anything into money. Okay. And so let me think.
It look like when the people make the promotion for any product, it might be more value and everybody try to get it. So the company provide that product very easy to reach because they can sell that product very easy. So the money from I understand that the money from the people is come from the believable from the people, and it's no limited because the people is the person from the government is also the people. They work for the government people also. So I like you say that the money from the people is unlimited. Yes.
You know why the money for people is unlimited? Because of two words. Can we learn
the
this?
people can the people can make the people can make the change the thing. That's one thing is no value become the value like the birds of nest.
Yeah, okay. It's because of this.
Yeah.
Okay, we study in the human construct. The human construct. Desire and imagination. That's it. It is a human nature that we have desire and imagination. As long as we can stimulate somebody's desire and imagination, we can make money from that. Before bird's nest, nobody had a desire to eat and consume bird's nest. It's just bird's nest. But somebody stimulated the imagination. Let's say bird's nest has value for health, longevity, stimulate the desire for good health, for longevity. And so they are able to extract money from people due to their desire and imagination. Computer that we use today. Computers, okay? 30 years ago, nobody had desire and imagination for computers. We didn't need computers. We went to school, we were fine, just writing on a paper. To do math, it's fine to calculate in our head or have a little calculator. Computers were for government, for the military. Nobody had desire and imagination for computer. But Mr. Bill Gates had the idea. He had an imagination. He had a mental image that one day every house would have a computer. And so he stimulated the desire and imagination for computer. With computer, we could play game. With computer, we could do our homework. With computer, we could trade stock. Nowadays, with computer, we can buy grocery online. We can talk to our loved ones. We can do Zoom. So it began as something that is beyond a person's desire imagination to something that is in their desire and imagination. And it takes a human being, a person, people, to stimulate that desire and imagination. And now everybody has to have a computer in the house. I have 4. Yeah. Right. A cell phone with facial recognition, right? Long time ago, we were okay with just talking on the phone, hearing somebody's voices or writing letters. But I remember when I was little kid, I saw a commercial for the first time that you could see each other while talking on the phone. And now everybody has to have a smartphone that you can talk to and see each other face to face, because we have that desire in imagination. And that is how we can draw money from people, unlimited. Okay. What about desire in imagination for the education on inner being? Up to now, the world does not have any desire in imagination for a state of being that is holistic, a state of holistic health and holistic wealth. Right? Mostly people were concerned about some aspect of health, some aspect of relationship, some aspect of financial well-being. But the world has not have the desire in imagination for a state of being that is total and complete in terms of health and wealth. Wealth in terms of our inner being, in terms of our attitude, our character, our integrity, our physical vitality, our capability, and our material abundance. What we're doing is we're stimulating a person's desire in imagination for a state of total and complete well-being. And we are teaching people to come to a fullness of awareness about what it means to be totally rich, to be holistically wealthy and healthy through this sharing. And because people have desire and imagination, there is no limit on how much money we can extract from people. Okay. And next week, I think we will talk more about money, different forms of money. Okay, we'll talk about the materialization of money, the energization of money, and the informationalization of money, or conceptualization of money. Money takes on different form. If we just consider money as something is material, then that's very limited. But if we can expand that and think of money in terms of energy and information, then that is really, really unlimited. You guys have any question or impression about today's sharing before we say good night?
Yes, I see that the money from the
You just muted yourself again, Tija. You muted yourself after.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. We already to have the more detail, the money from the mother nature, the money from the government and the people, and I see that it's like a circle. It's like a circle. For some example, the when we the money when we have the believable from the people, so that some committee can easy to make the money, and they when they have the money they contribute to the government like a tax everything, and the government use that fund to make the project or the some like the how can I say the project for the people, and they I see that they make a circle around the triangle of the money. Is the money like the flow of the money from the people um the from the mother nature to the government to the people, and the money come from the circle.
If we want to make our money sustainable, we have to think of it in the cycle. Right? We take money from Mother Nature, we give back to Mother Nature. We take money from the government. We have to give back to the government in terms of making sure the government is stable and they get the credit. If we take money from the people, we give back to the people in terms of the value that we create for them. So this circle is each of this arrow is a two-way arrow for sustainability purpose. Okay, that's it. So chị Young had to go to a meeting. Thank you so much for being part of our sharing and discussion today. Anybody else would like to say something? Anything new to you? I know that some of this could be review, but do you get a sense that when it comes to money, that your awareness is now a little fuller? You may have a little bit better source concept, better mental images, and in a state, hopefully it's balanced, that we realize that, oh, okay, money is everywhere. We can extract money from Mother Nature, we can extract money from the government, and we can extract money from people, thanks to their desire and imagination. And so it's no longer something that's difficult. Okay. All right. If nobody want to say anything, Ron, do you want to say anything? Chị gì đó? Dung.
No, I'm good for tonight, Frank. Sorry.
Alrighty. In that case, once again, grateful for your presence. Okay. Your presence is already a gift to me. And if you spoke up, that's even a greater honor to be sharing this material. And I will see some of you tomorrow for the internal body transformation exercise, and the rest of you next week. I think we will probably talk about money again next week.
Okay.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.